I've only met a handful of marketing geniuses in the remodeling industry since I began specializing in this industry back in, I think, about 2005. One of those people, probably the most impressive, was a guy named Brian Elias. Maybe you know him, at least heard of him. He was the charismatic owner of Hanson's Windows in Detroit. He now owns Refloor. He built an impressive business empire with Hanson, somewhere in the neighborhood of $70 or $80 million a year. I think he's up to about that same level now with Refloor. And he didn't do it by having better products or services than everyone else. He was good, no question about it, but he did it by lapping the field in marketing. I remember I was doing some business with him several years ago, back before he had sold Hanson's, and I was having breakfast with him at this little hole-in-the-wall diner near his office. Okay, it's like, think like Flo, Kiss My Grits, that kind of a place. What impressed me the most was not Brian's grand plans, and he had a lot of grand plans. It wasn't his mountains of success, he also had a lot of that. What really caught me totally off guard is how everyone in that diner reacted to him. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people. This window salesman turned into TV star from his TV commercials, had the entire diner craning their necks, pointing their fingers, and doing that little whisper thing. Hey, it's that guy from TV. They would, say it in hushed tones. They didn't want to be found out or something. It was really bizarre. The waitress was clearly starstruck. So she asked for his autograph. Yeah, while we're sitting there, the waitress asked for his autograph, and then she requested a selfie. She wanted to send it to her daughter, who apparently was also a big fan of a window guy. This commotion was on par with, I don't know, like maybe a second or third tier older celebrity, like Neil Diamond walked in there, or Chevy Chase or something. Somebody famous, but a little bit past their prime. That's about how famous he was. If you thought the Kardashians were famous for no reason, this is a guy who sold window siding and roofing for a living in Detroit. Now, to be fair, Brian was, for many, many years, until he sold his company back in 2017, he was a fixture in the top 10 of qualified remodelers' annual top 500 list. And it was for a variety of reasons. This guy harnessed technology like nobody's business. He had a commanding presence. The confidence was palpable. He was good at getting things done. He built systems into his business to ensure perpetual smooth flow. He hovered over all the details of the business like a pageant mom, but it was his marketing genius that was doing the heavy lifting. That's Brian Elias. Innovative, insightful, inspiring. And then there's you. Sorry to break it to you, but when it comes to marketing, you are very likely not Brian Elias. But here's the good news. You don't have to be in order to make all the money that you want in your business. Allow me to explain. First, let me tell you who I am. I'm Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder of Level 10 Contractor. I've been helping remodeling and home services companies generate 200 to 500 leads a month with websites, SEO, pay-per-click, social media, and regular media, including CTV, for over 30 years now. I know this business. And in my experience, there are 6 major business functions that have to be mastered within the home improvement, remodeling, and home services industry in order for your company to thrive instead of just survive. Okay, and I want to go over these 6. I think it's important that you understand this. It's kind of like, hey, what's your origin story? Let me tell you what they are. Number 1 is sales ability. Remodeling is so hyper competitive, you'd better be able to outsell the rest. That's probably obvious. Number 2 is sales management. Everyone knows that managing a sales team is a distinct skill. It's different than just knowing how to sell, so that's something that has to be mastered. Number 3 is operations. Somebody's got to know how to manage the darn thing. Hiring, firing, paying the bills, ordering, all that kind of stuff. It's important. Number 4 is finances. More than one remodeling company I've seen has bit the dust due to poor handling of finances. That's probably obvious too. Number 5 is production. All right, that's getting the products installed the right way in a timely fashion, high quality. That's muchos importantes. And finally, number 6 is marketing, making sure that your sales force has enough qualified, eager prospects to sell to. So let me review what those 6 things are so you can kind of get them in a rapid fire list format. 1, sales ability. 2, sales management. 3, operations. 4, finance. 5, production. And then 6 is marketing. Now be honest, where do you think your company's weakest link is when it comes to those 6 areas? Drop a comment below and let's compare notes. I bet I can guess for most of you though, what do you think it is? Which of those 6 areas do you think most remodeling companies' owners have a background in? Yeah, think about it for a minute. It makes sense. Sales and production. You know what happens, right? The sales guy says, why am I selling and making 10% when I could own the company and make all of it? They don't realize that you don't get to keep all of it if you're the owner. And then you got production guys who are good at building stuff and they say, oh, hey, I could do this. I could be the owner of this company. So that's the 2. You've got sales guys and production guys that become owners, leave their position and start their own company. That's typically where they come from. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just an observation. Here's what happens. Sales guys who go into ownership, start their own company, they usually find someone who's good with the details to manage the business, the operations, finance, production, all that stuff. And then production guys usually hire a partner or a sales guru and figure out the operation sides. But almost nobody ever figures out the marketing side of things. Most company owners I talk to either handle the marketing themselves or they have a so-called marketing person, which honestly is usually just a glorified traffic cop who's coordinating mailings, placing ads with publications, making sure the TV, radio's running, hire the pay-per-click agency. They're doing stuff like that. They're running the trains on time. They handle contracts. They hire agencies, stuff like that. Almost never. And I'm talking about even the biggest companies that I've been around. Almost never. I'm talking about 70, 80, 90, $100 million, 9-figure businesses. Even most of those do not have somebody who really figures out the marketing side of things. There's never just a bona fide marketing expert involved in the mix. Nobody who really understands how to write ads that sell or create web copy that converts browsers into prospects and prospects into customers. It seems like everyone in this industry learned their marketing from the company that they used to work for. Hey, what did they do? You just look around, see what everybody else is doing. Obviously, there's always exceptions, but literally, there's only a few exceptions. And trust me, I do work with big companies. When they get bigger, they tend to hire these people that have impressive resumes, but they're just bigger, more experienced traffic cops telling everybody what to do. I could tell you stories for a long time about these big marketing directors, or what do they call them? Chief marketing officers that come in and just destroy things because they don't understand actual marketing. This is how we end up with thousands of websites that all look and sound the same. How many of them start out by saying, welcome to, XYZ Remodeling LLC. We're a family-owned business operated, proudly serving Dallas, Fort Worth, and surrounding areas since 1978. It's what everybody's website says. When your marketing looks, smells, feels, and sounds like everybody else's, guess what? Nobody stands out and everybody suffers. Then you get guys like Brian Elias who are actually good at marketing. They swoop in and they devour all the marketing share. It's like a freaking horde of locusts just comes in and says, okay, I'll take everything, all of it. Here's what I want you to do. I just spoke about this the other day on this channel. I'll pop a link up on the screen if you want to hear about what I learned about marketing when I was a juror on a murder trial. TLDR, it's that your business is on trial and it's a life or death sentence, and it really is. If you don't gather all the evidence that you need to present to the jury, or in your case to your prospects, and if you don't do it in a bold and compelling and passionate way, you are dead meat. Would you want to be your own attorney if you had like a murder trial? You were falsely accused? Would you be your own attorney? Of course not. It's dumb. Would you be ready to defend yourself if you were on trial for something that could send you to prison for life? Or would you want to have, how about this? This is awesome. How about the court-appointed lawyer with his online law degree? Is that going to get the job done? So here's the good news. It's not your fault that your marketing stinks. Your background probably hasn't been marketing. It probably isn't one of your strengths. And realistically, I don't encourage you to try to make marketing one of your strengths. Now, look, I do all these videos. I train people on how to do stuff, but it's because I want you to understand the concepts so that when you have a marketing person that is doing this stuff, whether it's from an agency or internal, that you can actually understand and look at it and say, is it being done properly? I'm a big believer in focusing on whatever it is you're really good at, doubling and tripling down on your strengths, and then surrounding yourself with experts in the areas where you're weak, okay? So just like you wouldn't attempt to represent yourself in court in an important case, I would encourage you to reach out to professionals for help with your marketing. Yes, it costs more money than doing it yourself up front, but paying a little bit more now beats the heck out of getting clobbered in the long term. If all that sounds like kind of maybe a commercial for our services here at Level 10, well, maybe it is. You decide what you want to do with that information. If you know any other marketing experts who have taken the time and effort to post literally 2,000 plus podcasts full of industry-specific marketing information, putting it online for free to prove their expertise, then by all means, give that other company a call. But trust me, not calling somebody qualified to actually handle your marketing, to understand copywriting, websites, SEO, advertising, media buying, it's costing you money every single day. I think it's hilarious when company says, we're just going to do SEO ourselves. Let me tell you something about that. My company has been doing SEO since 2013 or 14, and we absolutely positively sucked at it for about 4 or 5 years. Then we got pretty good at it. Then we got a little better at it. By the time we got into the 2020s, we were starting to be pretty darn good at it. And now, today, in 2025, guess what? We are really, really good at it. And it's hard. It is supremely hard. I've got an amazing SEO director, Jessica. She is amazing. Her team is phenomenal. We've got copywriters that understand this. We've got coders. We've got all the nerds that know how to make it work. And it's still impossibly hard to make it work right and to get good results. And then meanwhile, some guy comes along and says, I read an article, I saw a video about SEO. I'm just going to do it myself. No, you're not. You're going to get destroyed. You're going to suck and it's going to be a problem. Don't do it. Okay. It's a little bit of a rant, but man, here's another thing I've seen. We'll do an audit on a website. Okay. The average audit on websites that we do, 27 out of 100, meaning if your kid came home with a 27 on his report card, you'd probably freaking kill him. My dad would have killed me. I probably would have killed my kids. Never happened. It's hard to get a 27 in school. you have to really not be trying. But we get these websites that come in, 27 is the score. We give them all the detailed things that they're doing wrong. You're doing this wrong. You don't have the right directories. You don't have the right geo keyword pairs. Your images are named improperly. You don't have the right H1s. All of these things. We tell them specifically where you're screwing up. And then you know what a lot of people say? They come to me and they go, oh, well, I'm going to just have the agency that we were working with fix these things. That's my dramatic pause to say, really? The guy who sucked so bad that they screwed this up to the point that you got a freaking 27, you're gonna trust them to do it right? Are you kidding me? You're gonna trust somebody on your internal staff that doesn't have any idea what they're doing to do this? The stakes are high. If you wanna be a $5 million business, a $10 million business, a $30, $40, $50 million business, it is absolutely critical that you get all of this stuff right. Do you know how hard it is to do your own pay-per-click? We've been doing pay-per-click for years. It's still difficult to do it and get good results. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with television, same thing with OTT, all of it. It's supremely hard. That's why only the companies that are the best at it succeed. The very rare company like Brian Elias at Hanson's or at Refloor, but you know what? You can get the help that you need, hire the right agencies, you can make it work, okay? Like I said, not calling somebody qualified to actually handle your marketing that understands copywriting, websites, SEO, advertising, media buying, it's costing you money every single day. And that, my friends, is a price that you really shouldn't have to pay. If this has been helpful to you, imagine what happens when we go deeper. We help contractors generate 200 to 500 leads a month consistently. You're one call away, or click, or whatever you want to do. Until then, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any future podcasts from this channel. That's what I've got for you today. I will see you next time.